We are live on YouTube, Jake Brown Radio. Amazing with Jake. We're back in the Philly area after 3 days in Flushing. One win out of three. Not ideal. Very bad, actually. But capping it off with a win. And what happened Friday at City Field was truly joyful. It really was. Dana Barry Sports Highlights. Yo, what's up, Dan? Um, I felt it before the game. I felt it that day of. I felt all the good voodoo and the good magic in the air. It just felt like there really was Mets magic in my podcast. From my Uber driver being Francisco to the feel outside of the stadium before the game to the first inning with Pete Alonso 3-run homer to leading up to it with the Temptations, doing the national anthem and then singing My Girl. You just felt like there was something special in the air at Citi Field, and they were not going to go down in front of the home fans. They weren't going to do what they did in front of the home fans in 2000, 2006, 2015, 2016, and 2022. They've done it every playoff run since 2000. They have lost a clincher to end their season on their turf. That couldn't happen with this Mets team. Now, if it happens in LA, it happens in LA. But we weren't going to go down at our own park. And really, it should have been better considering it was 1-1 and now it's 3-2 Dodgers. But they got to win, and that's what counts. Their season is alive. They have their ace on their hill in Sean Manaea. And that's what you can ask for now. Sean Manaea to shove like he has been doing, like he has done all season. But Wednesday and Thursday were really dreadful. You left that building feeling demoralized. And when you were down 3-1 after that second game on Thursday, you were thinking, a lot of people said the season's over. I felt bad. I didn't think it was over. I knew they would find a way to win Friday, and they did. And that's the kind of way you want to win. 12 runs, 0 strikeouts, which never happens in the history of the sport almost. To not strike out at all is remarkable. And they played small ball, base hit, triple, base hit. They moved guys over. Like, this was what the Mets needed to do to win, and they finally did it. You can't win by just grand slams and home runs. Now, I still think they should steal bases and maybe lay down a bunt here and there, but that was the first step in the right direction. Now, obviously, Manaea got to continue dealing, but you got to keep the base moving, base to base, station to station. Keep playing the same kind of baseball, complementary team baseball, and you could send this thing to a game 7. And game 7, anything goes. Anything can happen. Shohei Ohtani will not pitch. I know the media asked him, will he be available to pitch? He won't, thank God, because that's something I was like scared in their back pocket. Do they throw him out there in a game 7, or do they throw him out there in this bullpen game in game 6? But it doesn't seem like they're doing it. Bullpen, Manaea, edge, Mets. Both night games. No weather is a concern. You assume the weather will be good in LA. The 2 losses, the wind did play a factor. It was cold. And clearly the Mets pitchers weren't as good, and the hitters weren't as good. And I hate to use weather as an excuse. It's October. It's supposed to be a little chilly. But I think playing earlier with no wind, good weather Friday, you saw the bats come alive. And the pitching was good enough. I know they struggled at times, but it was good enough. And, man, that was fun yesterday. If you were at that game too, man, well, that was a fun time. And the block party was fun after. The vibes were just so good before, during, and after that game that you felt like this team might have more in them. And you felt like this team could maybe go on a championship run. Well, 2 more wins and they're 4 wins away. We'll find out tonight if the Yankees advance. No matter what fan you are, Mets or Dodgers, you want them to go deep in that series. Get them tired. Have them use some more pitchers. They don't want all the rest in the world. Get these guys 100%, nagging injuries. Get these guys good to go. You want that series to go deep. But I said Mets in 7. I still believe Mets in 7. It's going to be the unconventional path to get there. But remember, 08, 2012, 2016, 2020. A team came back in the championship series from down 3-1 to win. Just saying. 2004, remember it happened. It was 3-0, and then it was 3-1 when the Red Sox had the only ever 3-0 comeback in the history of the sport. So it does happen, and it's not, I don't know if every 4 years is considered often, but to come back from that kind of deficit, that it kind of is often, because it does seem to happen at a decent rate. And why not these Mets to do that? Come back from that. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio. Smash that thumbs up, smash that like button, comment. We're reading your comments. We're live on YouTube. We've been live on TikTok. I just went live on TikTok for 90 minutes. I'm going to lose my voice. But, if this season ends in a couple days, we move on to another sport. And it's just not the same feel as these beloved New York Mets that have given all the reason in the world for us to cheer them on and root them to the very end. And if you're one of the people that quit at 3-1, I don't want you to come back, because why quit on this team? There's been teams this Mets, franchise are put out there that I agree. Maybe you quit on them. Not this one. Backs against the wall is when they do their best. And once again, their backs will be against the wall at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Same time as the Jet game. Obviously, your preference got to be Mets. But, for me, as doing a Jets Flight Club podcast too, I got to have that probably on a laptop or go to a bar in Philly. I got to find out a New York sports bar that's going to play a Met game, a Jet game, maybe have the volume of the Met game. It's a big ask here. They don't like to put the volume on a New York sports game. I'll tell you that. But Jets is Sunday Night Football, so I imagine that'll be on in every bar. But I got to get them to put the Met game on and, not throw tomatoes at me. But, man, that was good last night. That was fun. And it ended early enough, 8:39, where you could still go out after. I went out to Jackson Heights. I went back to Astoria. I had a blast. I was salsaing. I was two-stepping. I was pretending I know Spanish. And it was good to be back in the greatest city in the world. I walked down 86th Street. I stayed yesterday on the Upper East Side, walked down 86th Street and did it for kind of positive voodoo. I was in that area, but I walked down 86 and I was like, let's do this thing. Francisco was my Uber driver. I was like, I'm going to keep this voodoo going. I usually don't believe in that stuff, but whatever works, because the shoes weren't working. The OMG shoes that Figgy got me, if you saw on social media, incredible. One of one, the only gold ones they made. Normally a white check with white laces. I got gold laces, gold check. Absolutely loved it. Shout out to him. Shout out to Stadium Custom Kicks. Those sneakers were sick, but they lost the first two. And I was like, was it the kicks? Of course I wore them again, because I'm not going to wear them around here. People aren't going to appreciate those. There's no population here. So really enjoyed those and got a lot of cool comments about that. So Stadium Custom Kicks, check them out. Love the sneakers. But that's besides the point. The point is that the Mets are here and they're here to stay. And you can't ask for anything more than going to your ace here in Game 6 and Sean Manaea, who continues to dominate opponents. And he dominated Shohei Ohtani in Game 2. Made him look like a fool. Remember, first at bat was a karate chop from Ohtani strikeout. Second at bat was a strikeout looking. And the issue is command. It's been an issue for this Mets rotation, for the bullpen in this series. They got to be able to find the zone. You got no weather concerns. You got, no excuses tomorrow. Find the zone and be smart. You can't just find the zone and give up meatballs, but paint the corners. Unfortunately, they haven't been getting a ton of calls on the corners, so they really got to just make sure it's in the strike zone, get ahead of hitters, and then give these guys a chance to get fooled by the off-speed stuff. We know Sean Manaea's got a ton of it with that sweeper, with his off-speed stuff. He has been remarkable for these Mets. So you got to be feeling great about this team going to Game 6, because, as I said, house money, but also what a season either way. If it were to have gone down yesterday and ended, you would have been feeling awful today. My trip back here would have been miserable if the Mets season was over. If it ends with with Manaea on the mound, it does. But I trust him, and I trust him to get to Game 7, and then who knows? You got Severino. Severino's had a good year. You never know what Sevy you're going to get, but you go to your two guys that help you get here, and that's Manaea and Severino. Peterson did the job yesterday for the most part. I know he didn't go long, but he pitched well enough. He got into that big jam. I thought that really set the tone to that game when it was second and third, no outs, and he got out of it. The fact that Ohtani didn't come home on the ground ball to short, Lindor's not playing in, I thought they basically were giving them the run, but Ohtani stayed. Maybe he would have been thrown out. Lindor's got a good arm, obviously. Then the line out and then the strikeout, and City was buzzing, and I think that was a major difference in the game. Once they couldn't send that first knockout punch and get those two guys home, or even get one home, that allowed the Mets an opening. And Pete Alonso, first and second, bing, bang, boom, 3-run jack in what could be his final home game at Citi Field as the New York Met. Now he hopes to see games next week in the World Series, and I do too, and I believe they will. But for him to maybe, if it is the last game, homer on his first at bat to take a 3-0 lead was an important message sent. At least for him. Like, it's a cool moment for him. Like I've said over and over again, I wouldn't overpay and bring Pete Alonso back on a long deal. But if you get a 125, so be it. Do it, bring him back. But I do think they move on from him. But he needed that. You know, he's been inconsistent. He had the homer in Milwaukee. He had a pretty good series against the Phillies. Has done a ton in this series against the Dodgers. So that was a huge homer on a pitch low and outside, a pitch that not many people could hit it out. Pete hit it out big. And then station to station, baby. That third inning was a thing of beauty. Singles, triples, doubles, oh my. Singles, doubles, triples, oh my. Didn't hit a homer in that inning. After the Pete homer, they didn't hit another homer. But that's what made the win so special, is that this is the team we know and love, the team that plays for each other, that next man up. And Jesse Winker's a big part of that. And that's why it blows our minds that Jesse Winker didn't play in those 2 losses. Winker's got to play every game. No more JD. Dodgers have no lefties. It didn't make sense that Winker wasn't starting every day unless he was hurt. And maybe he had a nagging back injury, but that back didn't look like it was hurting yesterday. Play Winker every day. I also loved Mendoza going to Jeff McNeil. McNeil deserves a start. You know, if he's healthy enough to play the field, Candelita guys here. Jose Iglesias has been a godsend. But the guy is in his mid-30s, and he's probably gassed playing every single day. And he was swinging at bad pitches, and something had to give. Jeff McNeil. McKitts. And McNeil had 2 RBIs. Like in the box score, you'll be like, he didn't have a hit, Jake. But guess what? He played the kind of baseball I've been trying to see. When a guy's at third with less than 2 outs, get him home. Flail your bat out there, hit it deep enough, get him home. Jeff McNeil did just that. And a 2 RBI game, I don't care how many hits you have. If you got 2 ribbies, it means you did the job. And that's what Jeff McNeil's got to do in that spot. And to be honest, I'd probably play Jeff McNeil again tomorrow. If you put Iglesias in later, fine. But play Jeff McNeil. Why not? That's going to be interesting. But I mean, if JD Martinez is starting tomorrow, Mendoza's going to, if they lose, Mendoza's going to, he won't get fired, obviously, but fans will be wanting his head. It's that simple of a move. Like that move is easy. Winker, McNeil or Iglesias, you could debate a little bit, but it should be McNeil. I think McNeil did enough yesterday that he warrants a start. Jesse Winker warrants a start. Boom. Mets lineup set. Alvarez, just remarkable. You know, this is a guy that fans at one point were booing. A couple nights ago, I was in the suite and fans were just booing him. They were like, play Torres, start Torres. I'm not the kind of guy that's booing my own players like that, especially Alvarez hasn't been god-awful. He's been tough to watch. Hasn't been god-awful. But, man, 2 nights ago, a single and a hit by pitch, you're like, all right, maybe he'll come around. And then yesterday, just a monster day. Drive guys in, single, double, single. He did it all. And if Alvarez can do that from the bottom of the lineup, if Jeff McNeil could get guys home, move guys over, and then you get the power at the top. Remember, Swaggy V was 0 for 5 yesterday, and they scored 12 runs. Lindor is Lindor. Pete had the homer. But if you get that contribution, Marley had a 3-hit day, you get that contribution top to bottom with guys playing within their roles. They don't need Alvarez to always hit a piss missile. A base hit will do. They don't need McNeil to always get hits. Sometimes they bun it, round ball, fly ball, get the run home, move the run over. And that's where the balance is very interesting, is that you have guys doing different things in different roles. Now, that could be an outlier. It could be one game. They're not going to score 12 runs likely tomorrow, but if you could each play within your role, this Mets team can win this in 7 games. And I said Mets in 7. I sticking with Mets in 7 because why not? Mania, bullpen game, Mets have the edge, and then game 7, it's anyone's ball game. That's why I think the Mets are going to win this series. And the story does not stop just yet. The story will go on into the Bronx for game 1 next week. For the first Subway Series in 24 years, the second Subway Series World Series all time. From my first year I was a fan in 2000 to now 2024 at 33 years old. Both times unemployed. 9 years old, unemployed. 2024, 33, unemployed. It only makes sense. The cards all point to that direction. He's losing his mind. Smash that thumbs up. You're watching on YouTube. Code 20 at Dodger Stadium. Yeah. Code 20. Sean Gray was number 20. One of my favorites. Heber Hammer. But you gotta be feeling nice today as a Met fan. And today you need the day off. You need to relax. You need to like breathe because tomorrow will be very stressful. Every single pitch on the road. Set the message early again. Lindor set the message. My girl was awesome. Temptation's so cool. That was a nice little thing the Mets did. I think the old time fans love that because they know the Temptation. The younger fans like it because they fell in love with the walk up song. But the old time fans, the parents of those kids and those older Met fans who saw '86 and were live when the Temptations were incredible, they had to love that moment. They got a little free pre show to the game, and the Mets sent the message early. And you felt like when Lindor was singing on the scoreboard, and you just felt like this thing is going back to Los Angeles. In a maniacal shove, you'll feel even better because game 7 is really anyone's ball game where each win you already feel great about the season, but each win to show resiliency, to show that they fought, it adds a little layer to this season. It really does. But why not Mets in 7? The Mets can't win 3 in a row. Teams do it every 4 years. It happens all the time. So just stick with the same approach. Obviously, they work with Barnesy. They worked with Eric Chavez on some things, on discipline, on not swinging on this outside off-speed stuff, these curveballs in the dirt. Like you saw some walks that set up some hits, and guys played like a band of brothers. Brother. That's how they played. I think they close this out on Monday night. Now, you got Mets Jets tomorrow, Monday. If it goes there, you'll have Yankees. If the Yankees lose tonight at 5, and then the Mets Dodgers, at 8. So doubleheader. I believe it's at 8. Is it 8:30? It's not 8:30. No, 8:08 on Monday if it gets there. 8:08 tomorrow. And then if necessary, 8:08 Monday. I think it'll be necessary because I do think Sean Manaea will continue to do what he does and against the bullpen game. But we'll see. We'll have a new episode of Mets Magic Podcast after the series, but I'll go on here. Follow me on TikTok at Jake Brown Radio. I've been doing TikTok lives as well, so we'll do a pre-show on TikTok tomorrow. And you gotta believe in these Mets. They will win tomorrow. Believe me, 3-2 Mets. They win tomorrow. Send it to Game 7, and then they find a way to scratch out Game 7. Both these are going to be tight, grueling games. I can't see blowout. I know this series has been full of blowouts. Game 1, blowout, Mets shut out. Game 2 is fairly close, but still 7-3. Game 3, blowout, Mets shut out. Game 4, blowout, Mets weren't shut out, but they were blown out. And Game 5, 12-6. Basically a blowout. Blowout games, but those end tomorrow. Close games tomorrow, close game Monday. And the Mets move on to face the Yankees in the World Series. That's what I think. If not, hell of a ride. But I think this team's got more in them. And I think yesterday propelled them to do the unthinkable and to do the thing that everyone thought would be crazy is the Mets going to the World Series and the Mets fighting for a championship in a year where no one saw it coming, especially on May 29th into May 30th, end of May, into June, even into July. Then in August and trade deadline, you started feeling close, like maybe this team could be special. And then the Lindor homer in Atlanta was like, all right, let's go. And then the Alonso homer in Milwaukee was like, holy moly, this team might win a World Series. And then what happened at Citi Field against the Phillies? You said, you know what? Give us anyone. Padres, Dodgers, 98 Yankees. Give us anyone, and we got this. And man, if they find a way to win this series, win these last 2, you're a Met fan. 1, you're feeling great, but 2, you're thinking, bring on the goddamn Yankees. Now, we all want the Guardians. I think the Guardians are much easier opponent. Yankees would be very hard. But at that point, you're thinking, bring on anyone. We're just playing with house money, and we're finding ways to win The road ain't done yet. What a season. What a story. These Mets, man. Always finding a way when the back's against the wall. They're back against the wall once again on the road. Mania, bullpen, and then Sevy versus Bueller, game 7. Oh, boy. The stress is getting real. Really is super stressful. Thanks for watching, everyone. Jake Brown Radio. Just want to hop on here. React 3 days were fun. You know, I was couch surfing. I stayed in Harlem for 2 nights with my buddy. Stayed in Upper East Side last night. So I'm exhausted. Need a normal night's sleep. Need to recover. Obviously, there was some good times, friends, and going out. So exhausted, but gonna rejuice for tomorrow and get ready to go for Sean Mania to save the Mets season. Let's go, Mets. Smash that thumbs up, comment, subscribe, share. Appreciate you hopping on here. Everyone, have a great Saturday night. Enjoy the Yankees Guardians game. Enjoy Mets Dodgers tomorrow. We'll be on TikTok live before the game tomorrow. Let's go. Mets in 7. Let's go.